Welcome to it. This is Working Title FC, a special edition. If you listened to us before, you know we're the best podcast you have never listened to. We're all about soccer. Yes, another soccer podcast. But another thing we like to do, you know, we're a little bit off the cuff. We like to talk about things that are a little bit off center. We've always done it. That's been the style. Ryan Senzo and myself. I've got a story. I was telling my guest earlier the story. What happens when you're a soccer player and you break your leg? And you still like kicking a ball very far, right? You find a sport. Why we're doing this special edition is I've got the president of FootGolf South Africa in studio with me. His name is Norman Mphake. And he has done a phenomenal job in growing a niche sport. Welcome, Norman, to Working Title FC, the podcast.
No, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
So why I bring Norman in, I was telling him earlier, I met your predecessor, Arthur Batista, and he seemed like a wildcat guy, right? With a crazy idea. There's this sport called FootGolf, and he got me into it, and kind of like everybody, you kind of go, oh, that's novelty, right? Yeah. Until you find a need for it. Like I said, I broke my leg, I couldn't play soccer anymore. And then I started looking into it, and I play it, I love it, and then following on social media, the great work Norman does in the sport. But let's start right at the beginning. Norman, what is FootGolf?
So FootGolf is a hybrid sport. So it's a combination of the sport of golf and that of football. And so it's played on a golf course. We follow the rules of golf. So whatever you know about golf, that's what FootGolf is. And the fundamental difference obviously is that we use a soccer ball. And our holes are bigger than the standard golf hole. What we always tell golfers is that we don't touch the holy grail, so we don't go on the green.
You're right.
So we don't go onto the green at all because our holes are shorter.
Yeah.
So what would be a standard par 3 in foot golf is kind of shorter than that of golf. So we would be completing our holes prior to getting to the green. It's played internationally. We're the only African country that's a member of the International Federation. And so we strategically trying to grow the sport within the country before we venture into the other African countries so that we're able to do regional tours and so that our athletes get an exposure and an ability to compete frequently with a diverse group.
That's so interesting. And one of the cool things about FootGolf, one of the weird things about FootGolf is that you think as a soccer player, you'll be good at it. No, you need to think like a golfer, not a soccer player, because as hard and as far as you think you can kick a ball, the hole doesn't move.
No.
So like, right, if I try to kick a ball across a field, my teammate's going to move to get the ball for me, right?
Correct.
The hole doesn't move.
Correct.
And oh boy, do you start feeling, I'm not that good.
Yeah.
And I can't kick the ball that far.
No, that's true. That's true. One of the things I always tell people is that the assumption is that because you've played soccer, you assume it's just kicking the ball around. But you must always remember that a golf course is not a flat terrain, and the ups and downs will actually create a scenario where even when you're looking at a ball straight, you have no guarantee it's going to end up in the hole, and you must be able to measure. So power is important for teeing off, but accuracy plays a central part in foot golf, just as it does in golf. So as long as your accuracy is not up to scratch, you can kick as far as you want. But if you're going to struggle to control your feet and the power and control the direction of where you are kicking, it becomes impossible to get that ball in the hole. You could be dancing around the hole for a while trying to get the ball in the hole, and it's quite frustrating because it looks simple, and it's not. But that's the beauty of it, is that people always assume it's just kicking a ball around, and if you're going 18 holes, you start feeling it. You feel that I've done a lot of work here, because if you don't really get fit enough to play foot golf, it takes a strain.
It sounds so weird because I've played here on the 9-hole courses.
Correct.
Then I went overseas and we played on an 18-hole course.
Yes.
Oh, even here on the 9-hole course, and it's the one course, and I want to get into about the different venues open to us. But it's the one course I know it quite well. By hole 7, I kind of start. So I'm talking about the Mashi course, and I see Norman's looking in his head. So we'll talk about that. But by hole 7, I'm already cooked.
Yes.
So on 18 holes overseas, I don't even know what's going on anymore, right?
Yes.
Now, you play with the standard soccer ball, right? There's no difference to the ball, normal soccer ball you can play with. Not heavier, not lighter, anything. Normal ball.
Normal ball. I mean, for our tournaments, it's recommended we use FIFA endorsed balls. So we use this official match ball. not a practice ball. An official match ball is what we play with at tournaments. And
size 5, right?
Size 5, yes, standard size 5. And I mean, when we played on Saturday, we played at the Serengeti Golf Estate. And the terrain is not flat, it's not simple, it's got enough obstacles. And if you thought Creek 9 is hard, I had people crying there because and there was extra wind. So on Saturday it was just windy and there's this open space. So what golfers know is that normally when you tee off, you hit the ball high.
Right.
But in foot golf, if you hit it high, you're trying to stay in the same space because the wind catches it and brings it back.
That's it.
So that's the fundamental difference, is that the guys there learned the hard way that an extra wind, try to keep the ball low, but they're trying to get over obstacles. And so it was a mix of fighting the wind and water features because there's so much water there.
Oh, no.
That it was one of those things that we're struggling with. But again, it's one thing I always celebrate about foot golf is that unlike in golf, our ball doesn't sink in the water, it floats to the edge. So every time the ball went into the water, I just say, just wait for it to come to the edge.
It's kind of easier to find. It's a little bit easier to find.
You see the ball all the time, so you don't spend 30 minutes saying, I saw it hit a tree somewhere here. But yeah, that's it.
So, and the rules are scored like golf, right?
Yes.
So you said pars, that you got a par per
3,
hole.
par 4, par 5.
Yeah.
Exactly like golf.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now in Johannesburg, right? What's our sort of facilities? Because right now you're focusing on Johannesburg, Gauteng, I know. Have you ventured out? So let's talk about Gauteng first. Someone who wants to play foot golf, what options are available to them?
So the Creek 9 Mashi course is still available. I mean,
that's in Roosevelt Park.
Roosevelt Park. We've taken a good partnership. We've spoken to City of Johannesburg, and Bill Swales, who manages that course, has been a very beautiful man to us around foot golf. So you can go. It's a pitch and play. So there's no problem there. We've adapted a facility here at Urban Life Church in Midrand. On Main Road, and there's a nine-hole Mashi course. They've created a beautiful setup.
Awesome.
It's just foot golf there, so you could even have your year-end functions there and events that you want, or whatever activity you want to do within a closed setting, a secure space. That would be it. We've converted a municipal facility in Olifantsfontein, where they had a cricket oval and 2 soccer fields. But there was open space right around the whole place. So we then created a 9-hole course.
Oh, nice.
And it actually naturally falls into a particular course. The one facility we have that we don't use frequently is Huddle Park. So there's a Huddle Park, there's a Mashi course that they actually do advertise on the website that they've got a 9-hole Mashi course there. And where's the next one in? I think I mentioned the 4 in Johannesburg. Yeah. I'm not sure if we still have an 18-hole at Rand Park. Because after COVID and the new management, I haven't seen or gone into Rand Park, but we had 18-hole there as well.
Okay, I don't think it's there anymore. If I think about my own experience, I don't think it's there. Yeah. And most of them are just pitch and play, right?
Most of them are pitch and play. I mean, you just book obviously the one here in Midrand. Yes, and obviously the reason I'm forgetting the last one is we just created a 9-hole at Serengeti Golf Estate. I still have to speak to the management to understand the setup of how people do they book in advance and things like that. But yes, it's the latest one. We only started playing it for the first time this weekend, so that's why it's not top of mind. But it was a difficult but beautiful course.
Nice.
It was hard.
So, what is my own experience, right? You talk foot golf and you got dismissive, right? People get dismissive of you.
Yeah.
The golfers go, get off my course.
Yes.
Soccer players go, I don't want to play that.
Yeah, it's boring.
Right?
So,
To think of it a bit as hybrid, I think it's easy to convert a soccer player, but what's kind of the main resistance? Is the attitude towards players? Is the attitude from courses? What's kind of like, do you find a barrier for you as an organization of growing foot golf?
Only barriers, people thinking we're going to damage the golf course or interfere with the membership on golf courses. But one of the things I always tell them is that once they see how we assimilate and we're able to adapt, because the rule is you adapt to the rules of the golf course or the golf club. So we don't come and make our own rules. And it's a second revenue generating stream for golf courses.
Sure, anyway, of course.
Because the age group and the age and the diversity of membership into foot golf is quite broad. You can come with your whole kids and say, we're going to play golf. So you swing and they tee off. And so you could have as many people as you want, and the game is faster, so you have more feet quicker. The resistance is only about people saying yes for the first time around.
Sure.
Once they've agreed, I mean, once you've had foot golf on your course, it's very strange to to not want it because you'll start understanding how it impacts your course. Besides the revenue, it just gives a new feel and options to the golf environment. It's also used as an intro to golf anyway.
Okay.
Because you start learning the rules of golf, you start appreciating golf. And so you have that balancing effect. There's no resistance in terms of athletes and participants, because once you've experienced it, it sells itself. It's really that kind of sport, is that you start realizing you are in, it's exactly what addicts golf players. Once you're in that open space and you're playing and you are testing yourself and you're really questioning your ability.
That's it.
It's exactly the same thing. So it has the same impact as what people who are already in the sport feel about the sport, is that it's highly addictive once you start enjoying it and playing it. So what we are trying to do, and the only challenge we have, is golf coursing opening up to us. And not being afraid of this new thing, that we're not going to be dribbling and
slide tackling. Exactly.
Slide tackling. Yeah. It is exactly mirrored on golf.
And not coming on with soccer boots.
No soccer boots at all. So one of the simple rules is no soccer boots, is indoor soccer shoes.
Yeah.
Any turf shoe that you can have, or tackies. So it's really about people opening up. We've spoken to many golf courses around the country. I mean, we've found meshi courses that nobody uses anymore.
All right.
But still, it's difficult for them to just say, yes, go ahead. There's about 4 meshi courses that are around Gauteng that I know of, I've seen, that we're saying, hello, can we...
Let's do it.
Let's do it. There's a golf course that's been permanently closed for the past 3 years.
You're joking.
And it's sitting Primeland. It's not even far from you.
Yeah.
It's actually quite close. And I saying, guys, can we have a conversation? But the beautiful story that we have about outside of Gauteng, we went to a place called Aggeneys. Okay. So you probably haven't heard of it.
No.
Okay. You know of Springbok?
Yes. Okay.
So now you know where I'm going.
Yes.
In Northern Cape, just about a few minutes from Namibia, we have an 18-hole golf course in Aggeneys at Black Mountain Golf Course.
Okay.
Which is a mining town.
Wow.
Aggeneys. Took us 12 hours to drive there and to build that facility. And it's a semi-desert, and if you see it, you'll be shocked. It's beautiful. Ground squirrels had dug the hole, so I was saying to the guys, I'm only going to dig where the squirrels have dug.
All right.
And ironically, they actually dug in strategic places, because when I did the measurements, we could put it the 18 holes.
Like they knew.
They knew that nature loves us. So it was that kind of thing. But in that area, we had to close the holes because, then the squirrels start having their family inside the golf holes, or you find snakes. So it's the only course that we've not permanently, so we've put lids on the holes. Only when you have tournament, you remove them and put the flag in.
Okay.
But ideally, we've got that in Aggeneys. We are expanding to other places. Obviously, we've started negotiating with Eastern Cape. There's 2 places that we already started talking about. There's one in Buffalo City, and there's one just behind the airport in Port Elizabeth.
Oh, right. Okay.
I must call it correctly.
Yes.
So there's one there. So we already started negotiating. All we're trying to sort out is our arrangement with National Sports and Recreation about our compliance. Okay. Once they give us a certificate acknowledging us as an independent sport, then it becomes easier. So the conversation is about them trying to figure out, are we in conflict with soccer or golf? We're saying we're a different sport.
Yeah.
We're a member of an international federation. We stand on our own. We've got our own governance structure in place. All we need is just to say, yes, we do exist. And then we go to SASCOC, and the rest is history.
So this organizational side of it is what's impressed me so much watching you from the outside. Because like I say, I heard about FootGolf for going back 7 or 8, 9 years now, right? But specifically the past 2 years, and I think under your presidency, that I've noticed, and it kind of coincides with the ending of COVID, Correct. I think, where you went full hog. Correct. This is, from the outside looking in, this is like a real sport. This isn't just a group of guys. This isn't beer and pizza type thing. A lot of the things you've said here, you're putting a lot of work into we are legitimized. We're going to World Cups. We're part of bodies. You're going to the right people within South Africa, within the government. You're doing the right things. Yeah. And this is a real legitimate sport, and it's growing, right? Yeah.
So my misfortune is my history in the sports sector.
Okay.
So I think earlier on when we were talking offline was the question about what can I not answer, is that my history in the sports fraternity goes quite far, and I have a responsibility to FootGolf because of the work I've done for other sporting federations.
Okay.
So because I know what needs to be done, I am very particular about the things that need to be in place in order for us to function. Because one of the things I say, the things that we've learned about other sporting codes and the shortfalls they've had, we cannot be a new sport and have baggage and have problems around issues of transformation, have issues around gender equity and access, have issues around development work, have issues around paying of athletes and stuff like that. So it can't be that one has seen this and then you inherit things that you don't have to be a new sport.
Right.
And so therefore it has to be intentional, everything that we do, that we say, this is what we're about, this is what we're doing. I mean, when our players win the tournament, females get the same prize money as males.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to wait for people to be picketing outside and saying equal pay for equal play.
Right.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
We know these things. So we have to be intentional about how our structures are constituted properly, how we are able to be accountable to our membership, and that we are open to people. And that's why we have a WhatsApp line on our website. You write to us. But sometimes people do ask strange things. But people are people.
Yeah.
And you kind of live with it and make sure that you're always floating above the water to be able to be clear of mind, of expectations.
Right.
And so it's always about making sure that we are open to people, we're transparent about what we're doing, but we try to get as many people to join us and support us, whether as a fan, whether as a participant, whether as a sponsor, whatever you want. FootGolf is a new sport. So whatever we dream of it as a country, we must make it that, because we have an opportunity to then show the world, this is how we started, this is the type of country we are. And so we must make it clear, this is the kind of organization, if we had a clean slate, this is what it would look like.
That's amazing, because you're 100% right. There's no baggage, there's no history, there's no big person that's done X, Y, Z.
No.
It's completely new and goes, okay, if we can build a utopia sport, let this be it. It's so funny you talk about that inclusion, because my daughter, she's 11 years old, plays soccer, and earlier this year, just kind of like before school started, we go play foot golf, her and I, and we take the photos, and my wife puts them up on Facebook. When we get to school the next week, every family is like, where is that? What do you do? Can we take it? Do we need to play soccer? And it's such a nice way as a fully inclusive thing, because I look at my daughter, she's a very promising soccer player, and I want to go, okay, I want her to have the opportunities, but there's baggage in soccer.
Oh, of course.
Maybe there's not baggage in something else.
Yeah, well.
You know, it's something new.
Yeah.
It's something new. Yeah. So you've mentioned, you alluded a few times, and why specifically I have you now is something very important happened in the South African foot golf world this past Saturday.
Yes.
Big announcement coming on Friday.
On Friday, yes.
We're posting this out this week. So, I mean, it will probably go out tomorrow. Big announcement coming on Friday. Let's start with Saturday. Let's start with the weekend. What happened?
So Saturday was our last World Cup qualifying tournament. So over the year, we started a league set up in April. We called it the Round of 16 because we wanted people to have legs in foot golf. They needed to play as often as possible. But we've had multiple tournaments and competitions along the way to be able to know that we've got players who are focused, serious, and competitive. And so this tournament was, most people thought it was about who wins, but it was more about me fine-tuning to see which athletes have been consistent, and when under pressure, would they perform. So it was a difficult course. It was nearly impossible, but they had to put their best foot forward, excuse the pun. But that was the intention. And so I was watching them as they played the whole tournament, the ones that I had to keep an eye on to say, are they what I expect them to be? Because then when we sit down and make the final selection, we don't want to get to a place where players don't understand what's at stake.
Sure, that's it. That's important.
It's very important for people to understand saying I'm a South African player means you're representing your country, not your own interest. And it's a very difficult thing for people to understand, how to separate their own personal aspirations for being an ambassador of a sport. It's a new sport. So how they carry themselves is a message they're sending to the rest of the country. I want people to identify with each player, because each player has those characteristics that somebody's going to say, I can do this. And that's the beauty about it, is that it's the etiquette, the way they carry the sport, the way they present themselves, the way they play the sport, the way they respect the rules. It's important, because
Because you want a FootGolf Messi and not a FootGolf Ronaldo that's going to throw everyone under the bus.
Well, I can't comment because I'm a Ronaldo fan.
So am I, but half our fans hate him. So.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and it's important because it's one of those things that I always say to people. Even if you had won this weekend, if your attitude towards the rest of the team is offish, then you're making it hard for us when we're going as Team South Africa. We get there and then I have somebody sitting at the corner of the bus because they don't want to talk to other people. And you know that funny things that I don't want to be nursing people. They're down.
Oh, that's it. And you're going there to compete.
We're going there to compete. So I need people to know that when I'm playing, I've got 18 other people in a whole country going and supporting me so that you know that they've got your back and they can warn you tomorrow when you're competing, watch for this, be careful of that. Then just sit back and say, yeah, I didn't make it, so it's fine if they don't make it. You know, it's really important for me.
Again, it talks so much to that clean slate. It talks so much to why must we carry this? And somebody may be listening and going, oh, but who are you competing against? FootGolf Worldwide is serious. Like, you do yourself a favor, and I belong to all the different groups on Facebook. FootGolf is a legitimate sport. The players who are overseas, they are some people are professional, right? Already in the sport. Yeah.
There's about 4 that are super professional. There's a man from France. Can't remember his name. I was just looking at his post this morning. He calls himself the Thor of He carries a hammer in his social media platforms and wears a crown and has this majestic king chair. The one player, actually 2 players, one from Argentina, Javier, I think his name, and then there's one from England. Oh, those guys, it's as if they have a string attached to the ball as they kick it towards the hole. And that's how beautiful it is. And they're professional. They play fully fledged FootGolf. That's what they do professionally. They tour around the world playing. I think Javier is sponsored by Adidas, and I'm trying to remember his name from England is by Nike. And here's a funny thing. They all use Jabulani balls, and I laugh all the time because I can't find a Jabulani ball in South Africa. I'm like, these guys are all using Jabulanis, and I have no access to Jabulanis, and yet it was released here in the 2010 World Cup. And that's what they swear about. Said Jabulani balls are the best balls to play FootGolf, and I'm busy using other balls because I can't find them. So it's a professional sport. It's played intensely and beautifully overseas. And this weekend we actually had invited Carlos from Angola.
Yes,
he's been traveling to Portugal and Spain playing in their tournaments. And he's struggling to have FootGolf in Angola. So part of our mission is to say, once we've set up everything and we've played, we're going to help Angola set up its FootGolf, Botswana, and Zambia is already ready and spoken to us so that we can start having those regional tours. So, I mean, Carlos even won the senior players. Because he's played in various places, and so he came over and he competed heavily. He was even complaining that our course is very difficult. I said that's the whole point, is that I want our players to feel the pain, to understand the complexity of playing in a course that's got bunkers everywhere and water, obstacles and everything, so that when you get to play internationally, the only thing you're competing with is the other athletes. And not being shocked by this terrain, that there's lush grass. And,
that's it.
And all of a sudden, it's the first time you see grass looking so smooth. No, that's part of the reason why I wanted them to play on a hard course, but in a pristine golf course.
Yeah. So the World Cup, when is it?
So it's taking place from this 27th of May until the 6th of June next year in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
I keep mixing up 26 and 27 because of my flights.
Okay, right.
I want to get there early, so it's one of those things. So, but it's taking place in May until the 6th of June in Orlando, Florida. And I think we've got 40 countries. There's about 1,000 players. We'll be playing those weeks. And there's a team set up. There's the individual. It's amazing.
How many players are you taking with you? It's 18?
19. We've been allocated 19 players because we're a new member country. Okay. So we've got 4 females, 4 seniors, and 11 males.
Okay.
So over 46-year-olds, that's the senior category, and then the females, and then obviously the 11 males that have been chosen.
So we've kind of been jumping around talking about playing this as a social experience and playing it a bit more seriously. What's your average age range of people that are playing?
That's not even a simple question because others play it recreationally.
Okay.
But the age range is anybody over 18, and we've got somebody who's going into his 70s.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's that diverse, right?
It's really diverse. The young ones, yes, are coming through. We've launched a school set up in Aggeneys. That was where we're going to test the waters.
I did see that. Okay. Yes.
So we've got the young school kids playing. The education sector is not a difficult part for me. It's the other side of the coin where we're going to try get sponsors and marketing conversations I spoke to you about. It's the bigger world.
Yeah.
The world of the business of sport world is where it's hard work. Once that's sorted, the development work is quite easy.
Exactly. There's a pathway.
We've been in development work all the way. We've got the long-term participant development framework at hand. And so it's not really a difficult thing for us to know how to develop kids in different stages and get them to train to compete. It's not a difficult journey for us, the bottom part.
Okay.
It's this side where the people who have to give us access. So it would be dangerous for us to push the school agenda and there are no facilities for children to play.
100%.
Because then what you're doing is getting people all excited about something that you cannot offer them.
Yeah.
And so part of the journey is to try and get facilities around the country and get people to understand that we don't mess up your golf courses. We actually enhance the golf course.
Yeah.
And we're growing a new sport, and anybody who wants to be part of it can be part of it. There's no blueprint yet of who is a foot golfer or what is a foot golfer in South Africa. And that's the beauty of it, is that it could be just about anybody. And I'm excited about our team makeup. It's proper.
Yeah, I said, is there anything I can't ask you? You said, don't ask me who's in the team. I said, okay, fine.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, who's in the team? No, I didn't.
I mean, there's only 2 players that everybody knew were already in the team.
Okay.
That we already had announced long ago. That, please note, these ones qualified long ago, and we submitted to the International Federation to say there's certain 2 people that, and consistently. I mean, I posted again yesterday about Sisebo, who actually used to be a former Banyana player.
Yes.
And when she had, her story ended in football.
Yeah, we get that.
We brought her over and she played and she was not certain.
Okay.
And then she's a quiet lady and she starts winning and she starts realizing, wait,
I like winning.
And this is working for me. So she's won every single tournament we've thrown at her, and she's consistent even in training. She's quite focused about her game, and that's the beauty of it, is that now she sees a new world where she's not complaining about the coach didn't choose me, I got tackled, this and that. It's an individual sport. If you perform well and you're true to the sport, that's where you belong. It's that disciplined, is that it's about you, but you know what you're representing.
Yeah.
And another player we've got obviously is Litladi, who used to play in the PSL.
Yes.
And he's also another senior player we've got who's clear that the mandate is very simple. Make sure that we compete to win.
Yeah.
And he likes winning. So he's not interested in we're here to show up and do what we can. It's those are the 2 that I've consistently said to them. The onus is on them to carry the rest of the team with them and make sure that they're always playing their best game.
Yeah.
They can't not do that, because in as much as I know that there's a broader conversation that we need to have as society, this is an important one for us to say, we had an opportunity to start something.
Yeah.
We've done what we can. Who else wants to be part of that journey?
That's amazing. I love that. And it's such a, there was a part in my head at one time when I started playing foot golf. I go, if you do this right and you start seeing internationally, you go, wow, this thing's really legit and there's people making money out of it. Or at the very least, you're competing internationally in sport for your country. And how many people actually get that chance?
Yeah.
A handful of people every year get a chance like that. You go, wow, that's me.
Yeah.
So I suppose you could look at it and go, hey, maybe there's a chance for me to just, take the punt. What can corporate South Africa do for foot golf?
Come see us, come join us, support us. Because it's a clean slate, we haven't predefined things. So one of the people were asking me if they were to help us with flights, can they have their logo on our clothes? I say, there's nothing wrong with that. Sure, come along. I mean, if it promotes your business when we go where we go, we do that. We have no restrictions because we're a new sport.
Yeah.
We don't have that
Yes, we're busy pointing at the screen. So we're watching Argentina against Saudi Arabia in the background here.
Yeah.
So if anything magic happens, Norman and I may jump up.
Yeah, so we don't have those kind of FIFA restrictions yet.
Yeah.
So where you're saying you can't be wearing ambush marketing,
Exactly.
you can't be wearing, like in the previous World Cup, people came wearing orange, all of them, and we knew that we're promoting a particular brand or a particular country and whatnot. So it's open to everybody to say, this is how we want to contribute, this is how we want to help, this is what kind of mileage we want.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different categories. So there are those that are saying to us, we might be inclined in local tournaments only because our target market is local. We have no interest in international exposure. But we're also saying to them, even if you don't have interest in that, because we have the TV rights to the team going to the US, however you want us to promote your product when we go to the World Cup and bring it back into South Africa, you have that platform. It's an open slate. It's really, there's nothing yet that says to us, we can't talk to you yet because our other sponsor says no. So we don't have that kind of restriction. And so because we're still open and we're still new and we're trying to get people to determine what identity they want to put within FootGolf, it's really open. It's really not a difficult conversation to have. And that's what we're saying to people. Please call us, join us, be with us. I mean, it's really, it's an open book. Carte blanche.
And that question on FIFA, I mean, maybe it's interesting, right? FIFA, the nastiness aside, but I mean, is there any indication within FootGolf in general? Because obviously FIFA get into beach soccer, they get into futsal. Is there any indication that FIFA would look at this, or is it just not really within their remit?
No. This is, we actually, if we grow FootGolf properly and have more countries involved, we've already applied to be a member of the International Olympic body. So we want it to be an Olympic sport. So all we need is actually countries. There's nothing else left but countries. So that is why our strategy here is, once we've done with South Africa, we're going to help the International Federation by making sure that we have more countries joining. So our mission is not necessarily only South Africa. We have aspirations of having a representation on the international body, and it's not about football. That's why I said in the beginning, we don't want to be seen as golf or miniature golf or alternative soccer. It's a sport on its own with its own future, and we need to build that history book of saying the first African country that went to the FootGolf World Cup was South Africa, and the world number one is from South Africa. That kind of story. We need to write it ourselves. So we're not looking at our neighbors and whatnot. So one of the examples I give is that most people would not remember or know that netball came from basketball. Somebody decided, let's have a slower pace game. Nobody talks about netball as an alternative to basketball.
Right.
And that's what I want people to understand, is that FootGolf is FootGolf for FootGolf's sake. And the other things that it looks similar to, it's fine. And so that, as we grow the sport, is what I want people to be walking around. I'm a foot golfer. And be clear.
You know, Norman, you've been phenomenally steadfast in that. And I think that's why there's suddenly a bit of a swell behind FootGolf, because you're going, this is exactly that. It is a new sport. It is a thing on its own. And you've not deviated. You don't deviate from that. And I think it's very viable, and we can see it. So that's fantastic work on your part. What do you want to see from the World Cup? I hope we speak to each other before then, but somebody just listening to this episode alone, what do you want to come South Africa to bring back from the World Cup?
I can only think of podium positions. I can't go into a World Cup competition for experience. There's no way. The players know very well. I've told them. I'm already starting to negotiate to try and find sports science support systems to put in place, because I want to make sure there are no injuries. I want to make sure that we strengthen them in areas that they need to be strengthened. I want them to be peak athletes when we go there. I don't want to go there and be looking around and saying, oh, look how well they kick. No, I'm only interested in podium positions. I'm not
participation
trophies.
I'm
not the type of person. People are going to invest their money in helping us go there. It shouldn't be a trip to Disney. It's not. They're there to work, and they must understand they're there to work. And we may even start having contracts for them to say, when you get your selection as a national athlete, you have obligations, and this is what you're going to do. I spoke to some of them to tell them, I've considered you, but I need to understand that you understand that this is not a joke. We're not going there. After every game, you want to go out to the pub.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. And I know people are people, but the fact remains, we need people to understand the magnitude of being the first African country to participate in a FootGolf World Cup. This is the 4th World Cup.
Amazing. That's amazing.
So we've missed the other ones. The Japan one didn't take place because of COVID. So we've had time to sit down and focus and move across and be clear. We're not going there to participate. We're going there to win. So I cannot imagine anybody who's coming with us who's thinking of relaxing. They know me well enough to know that I'm not going to tolerate that.
If you're listening to this, Norman was like seconds away from bashing his hand on the desk. That's how adamant he is. But it's great, because I think you see so many people that legitimizes the sport. Okay, if we're going, it's going to be a big booze up, then, it's stay at home. Let's not even bother. We're going there to compete with the first African nation. That's an amazing story. How can people follow the journey of FootGolf or find out more?
Well, I wish I remember these things off by heart.
I've got them all here, but
it's
it's
social media platforms.
Yeah, so it's most of social media is FootGolf South Africa on Facebook. It is FootGolf SA on Instagram and on Twitter. And then there is the hashtags FootGolf South Africa and hashtag Orlando 2023. But basically, FootGolf South Africa, that's what you want to be looking at. The guys are doing an amazing job. Norman, anything you want to kind of wrap up, leave our listeners with? You want people to just keep in their mind about FootGolf? You've said so many great lines, but one thing to leave people with.
I think one of the things, the jokes I always want to leave people with around FootGolf is to say FootGolf is the first democratic sport in South Africa. And it's intentional where I say that.
Yeah.
When you start thinking of the world of golf and the world of football in South African context, it's an opportunity for us to say, hey, we've spoken about it, we've tried to figure something out, here's an opportunity. So whatever you can imagine of that, it's the kind of South Africa we want, and that's what FootGolf represents. And I want everybody to feel that it's theirs. It's really has no identity. So you decide how you want to be part of it. You join us. We build it together, and that's the opportunity we have. So if you go on our website, please communicate with us. We've got our WhatsApp line there. That I want people to be able to write to us when they feel like writing to us. If you go on our website, I think the number, let me just read out the number for our WhatsApp line. It's 064 508 2619. So we've got a WhatsApp line on our website for any questions that people have. If they have opportunities, if they know of a golf course that's around their corner that is not being utilized, we go talk to the municipality or the golf managers, and we dig holes and we put flags. And it's like going on Mars and a flag in the stake in the ground, and we claim that space. We say this is FootGolf terrain, and people can have access and play, and that's it. I mean, you become a member, then it grows as federation, and part of the strategy is that you become a member of the mother body, not the provincial structure or clubs, because we have to grow the organization so that it's able to carry the rest of the provincial structures. It can't be the other way around. It would be a very dangerous thing to do, where you then find a group of people then saying FootGolf Gauteng runs FootGolf in South Africa because we've got the most members, the most amount of money. It's about growing the mother body, making sure that the mother body can then carry the rest of the provinces. And that's as simple as it is. I mean, really, whatever we want from the sport. I am very finicky about certain things, but I'm open-minded about everything else.
Okay.
So that's it. I want us to grow the sport formally, but everything else that comes on top of it, I'm quite open to that discussion, because I'm saying, why would I limit the potential of the sport? One of the best examples one of our directors was speaking to me about is that, look how EFC has blossomed around the world. That it just came and everybody thought, Boxback guys are knocking each other and having a sponsor from some spare wheel company. now it's a multi-billion-dollar organization.
Bigger, I mean, dare say it's bigger than boxing. I mean, it's overtaken boxing. And I think there's a similarity between FootGolf and Padel. And I look at Padel, I go, why would Padel pick up? And FootGolf, it's just so weird, because it's so many similarities,
It's because part of the things that I'm saying is that because we don't want to have that kind of historic baggage, everybody comes in and says, can I? We say, yeah, do it. Because we're saying we need to respond. People need to remember sports is self-driven. Yeah. It's you choose to play sport. So when you choose to play sport, you want to feel that your decisions are being respected. Now, when you start making sports inaccessible and difficult to play in, people kind of lose interest, because you've the argument that's taking place between PGA and Live is probably around the same thing that the other one is a bit historically staunch, and these guys are saying if you play good, we throw money at you. And guys
that's
are like, I've been struggling to get paid this side. Somebody's just saying, play, we throw money at you. And it's because of the freedom. But it also is a danger and a risk to the sport itself, because you need to put barriers and boundaries, because sometimes money does become a problem in authenticity, in how you keep the culture of a particular sport and the guidelines that have to be in place. So it's a balancing act, but because it's a new sport, that's why I say, let's try and make it what we feel it could be. Let's develop a new narrative for it. I really, in my head, I refuse to have a blueprint of what a foot golf looks like. Because then that's unfair. Because, I mean, I've been surprised by certain players they play, and I'm looking, you're actually quite good. And then I ask myself, why did I doubt they would be good?
Exactly.
So those are the kind of the beautiful things, that it helps one to reflect on how we've carried this kind of baggage and prejudice around with us about everything in sports and in society. And as they say, sports is a microcosm of society. So let's see what society we're building in foot golf. Let's see what kind of society we want, because this is a choice we have. Nobody else is going to say to us, no, you can't. And I've said to most people, the things I've written for other sporting courses they never used, all I do is take my documents back and write foot golf on it.
Exactly.
And who's going to say no?
Exactly.
So whatever plans other people refuse, I just take it. Fine. Foot golf, no worries. And then I have a meeting with the board and I say, in 2011 we wrote this and nobody cared, and it can work. Can we do it? And we agree on it. And that's it. Is that I'm saying to young people, so we use, for example, students who are sports students for the practical hours to come do the scoring.
Oh, that's cool,
But to say to them, guys, here's an opportunity for you to participate, learn about a new sport, and if you don't find jobs at the gym, here we are. Because here's a new sport. If you want to, you've studied sports, now you have a new opportunity to decide what kind of things do you want to test out as a sports graduate. And because when I studied sport, we used to complain, why are they always hiring people who never studied sport? Now they don't understand sports. I'm saying, fine, here's a platform. Stop complaining. Here's a sport.
You see, if you need new commentators for a sport, here's a guy.
There we go.
If you need new broadcasters for a sport, here's a guy. Go. That's it.
And that's it. And that's
such a cool thing.
That's the conversation we need to have, because, for example, as I said to you earlier, when we've got the broadcasting rights to the World Cup for South Africa, and if we have a broadcaster that says, no, we want to be the ones that fly from the day somebody kicks the ball or gets on the flight,
do it.
Because I don't understand why we would be finicky about growing a sport that is ours. It's really ours to determine how far we take it. Now, why mess up such a beautiful gift? And when Arthur came to me many years ago and said he was told that if he needs to grow a sport, he must talk to me. I said, fine, let's see. I got in, I saw it. I said, hey, my man, this is a beautiful thing. I can't let go of it. And when he said he's leaving the country, I said,
well, look, from somebody who's kind of been a voyeur on that journey, having met Arthur and kindly wrapping it up for part 2 with you, your team and what you've done, you can certainly see the new energy in it. Listen, I'm totally biased. I'm a player. I'm a fan. I love the sport. I wish you guys all the luck. I hope this isn't the last of our conversations. I really would like to be involved in the foot golf journey, 100%. As would Working Title FC.
Wonderful.
Norman, all the best. We're going to stay in touch, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for your listeners as well.